Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream hosted by yours truly, Eric Smith, Eric the Colts fan. That's my Twitter at, so you can check me out on there. And he is Jamal Lawrence, your co-host of the live stream today. He's got USC Jamal. That's his Twitter, and that's also our at for our podcast at the Colts Cast. We're on Twitter. We're very active on there. But today, we usually pod off our platform, the Colts Cast. That's where we talk about anything and everything Indianapolis Colts. But today, we partnered with Bleacher Report to give you an amazing live stream today. So a little background about the Colts Cast. We're just two best friends who've been avid Indianapolis Colts fans for a while now. I mean, it's been decades, it seems like now, right? Yeah. So we decided to use podcasting platform to talk straight Colts content because we love talking football and we love interacting with the community. So why not bridge that gap? And here we are. Jamal, anything I missed out, for the Colts Cast?
No, man. I mean, you hit it pretty square on. Like you said, we've been doing this for a while now, and it's just been a great time getting a chance to not only, meet Colts fans like ourselves, but also just build a platform for everybody to sit here and enjoy it with us. We like to keep it straight with everybody, and sometimes we shoot for the stars. Sometimes we like to just be 100% brutally honest. And that's kind of what makes us unique during all this. So we just like to have a good time with it, and we appreciate y'all stepping in to see what's going on. And it's going to be a great time today talking about our topic we have.
Yeah, no sugarcoating. I mean, we tell it straight. That's how we got to live by. Oh, yeah. So today we have 5 bold predictions for the Indianapolis Colts in 2023. I mean, Jamal, should we just get right into it?
Yeah, I'll give them a little sneak peek. Let me pull it up so they can see what we're going to talk about here, just so you guys can get a quick view of what we have. So we're going to be bringing you 5 big ones, everybody. You can read it on the screen right there, but don't worry, we'll bring this up as we go through each individual one. But we will be taking it straight from the top with the Colts, saying that the Colts will win at least 10 games this season. That's how we're going to start off today.
You want me to start off, Jamal?
Go ahead, Doc.
And say less. Look, the Colts will win at least 10 games this season. They're also going to break that curse with the Jags opener. We haven't won a week 1 matchup in I don't know how long.
Too long.
But we are winning that opener. And expectations for the Colts this season, they aren't very high, from the mass media, from anybody that's not a Colts fan to even Colts fans. It's not that high. When you factor in a rookie head coach, a quarterback as well, who's also a rookie, very raw rookie, the Jonathan Taylor situation, questions surrounding Shaquille Leonard's health, etc. There's a lot of unknowns heading into week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, what if these unknowns turn into strengths? What if Steichen starts this team off hot in his first year? What if Richardson ends up having a pretty good rookie year where he plays to his strengths, limits those weaknesses? We all know his weaknesses. What if Shaquille Leonard returns to all-pro form? I mean, this guy, 15 forced fumbles, 10 interceptions since 2018. No other player has done that. What if Jonathan Taylor has another career year when he presumably returns? What if the offensive line has an exceptional year? What if the Gus Bradley defense takes another step up? I feel like I could keep going on and on, but I do feel like our ceiling, our potential is higher than a lot of other teams in the NFL if we put it all together, if we really do. Especially with a favorable schedule in Indianapolis. This team can surprise a lot of folks. We could be that Seattle Seahawks team who last year they squeezed into the wild card round. When they lost Russell Wilson, everybody said they were going to be trash. Nope. They made the playoffs. Say what you want. We could be like the New York Giants. Went to the divisional rounds, playoffs, NFC under Brian Daboll's first year. Look, Colts Nation, it can't be worse than last season. I mean, we did it at 4 wins, 12 losses, a tie. It can't be worth it. Like there were so many things that had to go wrong that went wrong last season. I mean, just think about that Vikings game. Just think about where you were at the time when we were up 33-0 and lost that game.
Riding the
Really think
biggest
that's
high.
gonna exactly. You really think that's gonna happen again? No way that's happening. I see positive regression to the mean, everyone.
Yeah. I mean, you just set the bar pretty high. I don't know how much more I can add to that to convince anybody that we have the opportunity to come out this year. Like you talked about schedule, we have what, the fourth easiest schedule, I believe, coming into this season. Gosh, that says a lot. That means that just puts us on a pedestal right there to where we can come up. They're doubting us right now, and I don't think people realize how important these pieces to the puzzles that have been added to this team makes this team. We have Anthony Richardson, as you already mentioned, Steichen, who's already shown that he can do this on multiple different teams. He can bring this. Now, of course, his true test would be at the head coaching spot. We know he's used to the offensive coordinator, but he's someone who takes the game and he lives and breathes by it. So I think he will adapt quickly to what's thrown at him. I mean, we've seen just some of the play during the preseason where we saw changes being made throughout the game. That's the kind of stuff we want to see. Not to mention, guys, when I'm thinking about these 10 wins, we play in the NFC South division. I'm not really concerned with the NFC South division. I don't know about you, Eric, but not really too worried about what they're going to bring to the table for us. And you all know Colts always, and I mean always, pull up an upset win. This year, I don't know, Eric. Boys from 2 hours down the road in Cincinnati are on the schedule. Could the Colts pull the upset against the Bengals too to top off that 10-win season? I think it could happen.
Kansas City Chiefs last year, we gave it to them week 3. Buffalo Bills the year before, we tore them up. Jonathan Taylor had 5 touchdowns?
Yep. 4 on the ground, Woo! 1 in the air. Yeah, nuts.
Look,
nuts.
It can happen. It really can. All right, Jamal, what's our second bold prediction?
Second one for us here. Let's see. We got Anthony Richardson will rush for over 800 yards and break the rookie quarterback rushing record, which is 815 yards, I believe, set by RG3 himself.
Yep. According to StatMoves, RG3 holds that rookie QB rushing record at 815 yards. An impressive feat. That's a lot of rushing yards for a rookie quarterback. But records are made to be broken. Isn't that right? Richardson is built different. I don't know if you guys have seen him. Jamal got to witness him up close and got to witness this Goliath. I'm expecting him to use his legs in tough situations. That's what he did in Florida. And I think that's what he's going to do in this Shane Steichen system, especially when Steichen employed a lot of QB design runs when he was in Philadelphia. Why not? He's 6'4", 250 pounds. With the speed of Justin Fields, he's just going to bully defenders, and we've already seen flashes of this preseason. Then you can look at Florida tape. I mean, the guy is hard to bring down. It's not like Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields just running at you. It's like a Cam Newton with immense speed running at you. Then you factor in the NFL added an additional week of regular season a few years ago, so he's got another game to pack on those rushing yards, which means this guy's going to smash this record. That's what we believe.
Yep, and I'm glad you mentioned that extra game, because all that says, Eric, is he needs to average just 48 yards a game. 48 yards a game is all he has to average to hit 816, which is to break the record. Beyond doable. We think about the preseason game, and I don't care that it was against a Philly second team out there. He had 5 carries for 38 yards against the Eagles in preseason, not to mention the ones that got called back, because there were a couple that got called back for Quentin Nelson penalties. So if he did that on just 5 carries, and I still feel like he wasn't even running as hard as he could, once he gets comfortable back there and understands, and we really implement that RPO for him, any kind of option he has, I can guarantee you he will break that record. He's going to have a couple games where he gets over 100 yards. I mean, people may not want to say that right now. And of course, we know we don't want our our quarterback running nonstop. We don't want him out there 100 yards, but it's very, 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 very doable. You think about him breaking off a couple 20, 25-yard runs to put us across the 50. I mean, I can easily see him hitting 100 yards a couple games.
I like it, Jamal. 100 yards is very doable. I mean, we saw what Justin Fields did on the ground last year.
We got the week.
Yeah, and they were running it all the time. So I think Anthony Richardson easily smashes that. I think you do as well, Jamal. Let's talk some more Anthony Richardson, Jamal. What is our third bold prediction for the Indianapolis Colts?
So this one right here, this one's going to be a fun one. Anthony Richardson will win Offensive Rookie of the Year this year.
Woo! Will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Last time I checked, I believe I checked FanDuel, there were only two guys ahead of this guy. I think it was Bijan and Bryce Young. So unless that's been updated, Anthony Richardson is in third place to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, according to Las Vegas. So when you break the rookie quarterback rushing record, you kind of have to be a strong candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. But I get some of the critics, sure, when you look at it from a pure passing perspective, let's look at his stats from college. They're not too shiny. 2,549 passing yards, a 53.8% completion rate, which I see some chatters have already talked about his accuracy, and then a 17-9 touchdown to interception ratio. That's nothing to write home about. But, that was his first season there, like starting, and he was having coaching changes happening. He didn't have much receiving talent as well. I'll tell you that.
Name any of those guys.
Yeah. Y'all name me one Florida pass catcher. I mean, not name Kyle Pitts. Just try to. Anyway, yeah. So from a pure passing perspective, you can't say, yeah, he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But when you factor all of that in, Richardson, again, he's built different rushing attributes. He's got a deep ball game, which is very clean. He's probably got I would argue, a top 5 arm in the NFL as far as arm strength, the way he can push it down the field, strongest arm. And it's also accurate too. We saw that in the preseason. I'm sure Colts Nation saw that Alec Pierce catch. He had some butterfingers that day, but that was a perfectly thrown ball in week 1. And they were trying that a lot in week 1 and 3. Those 2 games he played, they tried to push the ball downfield a lot on those plays. So we're going to have big plays happening, which is potential touchdowns as well. That's going to add to his touchdown interception ratio. Here's another big thing: his ability to avoid a sack. I think those are all going to be great tools to keep defenses up at night. Then you add in the fact that he had arguably the best landing spot with the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, think about it. Yeah, sure. Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers, Frank Wright, they got Josh McCown there. That's okay. CJ Stroud with a defensive coach. We'll see what happens. Will Levis. Anyway, you got the best landing spot because you got the head coach named Shane Steichen, who has developed how many QBs?
Offense Rookie of the Year with Justin Herbert. He did. He elevated Jalen Hurts to a whole new level. I mean, it's
y'all were ready to write off Jalen Hurts.
Oh yeah.
And then this season, last season, he took a pretty strong leap up, and that was under Shane Steichen. He made the whole Super Bowl. But yeah, Justin Herbert won Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2020, which a lot of people said Justin Herbert, he had the physical tools, but he didn't have it all. He developed, and now, like, people say Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in the league. So look, you got the coach. You got Jonathan Taylor, who will hopefully be back after getting taken off the PUP list after 4 weeks. You got that guy coming back that he can lean on in the backfield. Do you know how scary that is? That has to be one, if not the best duo in the backfield in the NFL. It has to be, right? And yeah, just throwing all that together, I think he finishes strong. Like we already said, he's going to break this rookie quarterback rushing record. He's going to be in this offensive system that's tailored to him. He's going to put up the stats that are worthy. We're going to get at least 10 wins. We've already talked about that. The narrative is there. Everything spells Offensive Rookie of the Year for me.
Oh yeah, I mean he's obviously the most gifted and athletic rookie we have coming out of the draft. And I know whenever we think back to combine and how we're thrown on air and how much does this matter, how much does that matter? Listen, guys, I'll be the first person to tell you that Of course, we all know until a defender is in front of a receiver and you have to throw the ball in a tight window, you can't really judge it. But I will say, watching this man at the combine, dimes all day long, all day. So he has the ability to put the ball where it needs to be. Now we just have to work out the small kinks he has of putting it where it needs to be when defenders are in his face or in front of receivers. And we saw flashes of that during the 2 preseason games. I mean, Eric, we talked about some plays where he evaded pressure, was getting taken down, and still managed to zip the ball out to where it needed to be. I don't know many quarterbacks who can do that. Now, I'll give it to you. The ball did hit the ground, but I mean, he was literally, his knee was about to touch the ground. We look at the passes to Josh Downs during the preseason. I mean, darts too fast for Josh Downs to even react to it and catch. And I think that Josh Downs may be one of the best pass catchers on the team. I mean, he has small hands, but he is one of the best pass catchers, I think, that's going to be on this team. And even it was too zippy for him. We look at, like you said, we look at Alec Pierce, the Butterfingers, but we saw plenty of practice film of Pierce catching some dimes. So these things are all things that I think Richardson will get better at and will elevate. And with the people we have around him at the receiver spot, I think it helps out. But then you mentioned the Jonathan Taylor situation. I mean, goodness, once he's back in that backfield, that's going to be a nightmare for any defensive coordinator. Because what do? You're going to stack the box with 7, 8 people in there and have to worry about JT or Richardson getting the ball. I mean, that I don't want to have to think about that. And you may think for a second that, well, maybe JT back there, it hurts Richardson a little bit when it comes to Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think so. I think it elevates him even more because you got, now as a defensive lineman, you got to take a commitment, or even a linebacker. You got to commit. Do I want to take JT or do I want to take Anthony Richardson? And you are going to be wrong on one of those options. You're going to be wrong. And that's the scary part. That would keep me up at night if I was a linebacker, having to know that I was going to be going to that combination. I wouldn't know what to do. I would lose it.
Jonathan Taylor's cuts are so clean. Go watch that when he sealed the game, Jonathan Taylor versus the Patriots. Y'all remember that game when he sealed the deal in the fourth quarter. There were 2 linebackers staring at him, ready to tackle, and somehow he made both of them miss and ran all the way past the second level, all the way to the end zone. That Jonathan Taylor is the real deal. There's a reason why he averages more than 5 yards a carry in his career with the Indianapolis Colts. All right, Jamal, what's our 4th bold prediction?
4th bold. And those of y'all who are in the chat, keep chatting up. We're going to talk about some of this stuff y'all are mentioning as we go through. So keep it chatting up. But the 4th for us, Eric, the 4th, no wide receiver who will finish with over 1,000 rushing yards this season on the Colts. Now, we told y'all we like to keep it real. You can have negatives in there. I mean, we think that no one's going to finish with above 1,000. You want to talk to him, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. It's not all going to be positive. We're not delusional, are we? But we have to keep it real. So no wide receiver will finish over 1,000 yards receiving this season on the Colts. So let me explain why that's going to happen. Because I have to be honest, I really don't think it happens. For one, we don't have an elite receiving group. Michael Pittman Jr., quite a stud, but he's yet to show us he's a true wide receiver 1. He's yet to show us that. Alec Pierce has to show up in his sophomore year and take that next level up. Last year, he had some issues working on generating separation, some drop passes as well. Can he clean that up? He can be devastating down the field. Josh Downs, who we believe is an absolute steal. We talked about this in one of our podcast episodes before we drafted him, that we got to draft Josh Downs, and we ended up drafting him. I don't think he's not going to warrant enough volume to take him that far above that 1,000 receiving yard threshold. Ashton Doolin is on IR. Isaiah McKenzie is a depth player. We didn't have a player last year go over that amount. We didn't have one player go over 1,000 receiving yards last year. And Matt Ryan threw the ball almost 40 times a game. He was pumping them out. So, you take that into account too. Philadelphia Eagles offense in 2022 was spearheaded by Shane Steichen. They executed a rushing play on 49.74% of their plays according to team rankings stats. That's 4th highest in the NFL. I think you guys should expect Shane Steichen to roll over a lot of what was successful for Jalen Hurts in that offensive system to Indianapolis and Anthony Richardson. It just makes sense. That means a lot of RPO, a lot of quick passes, a lot of runs, good bit of QB design runs. We already talked about that. He talked about it too. A lot of running the ball and setting up, what was it, Jamal? Run, what was it? Throw to score, run to win, something like that.
Throw to score, run to run. Yep. Run to win.
So I expect that, balanced offense still. You don't want to have a rookie quarterback out there slinging the ball 40 times a game. I don't really see that happening unless we're down by an absurd amount, in the ball game, which, we don't expect that to happen.
No.
I'm expecting a balanced approach with some variety, deep shots, read options, run the ball on first and second down, quick passes. It's going to be everything, but we don't have a Patrick Mahomes back there. We don't have a pass heavy offense right now tailored to us. And then third and finally, the tight end group. We signed about 89 tight ends this offseason. So, we got a big tight end group, but, all of them didn't make it to the 53-man roster. However, we're still expecting this group to have their fair share of targets in the receiving game. Guys, who was one of the biggest standouts we've seen in preseason so far? Kylen Granson. Kylen Granson looks to have already established a connection with rookie Anthony Richardson. When healthy, Jelani Woods, I expect him to be way more involved than he was last year. I think, we said it a lot of times last year, Jamal, like, get this man the ball. Like, he is feasting with the ball in his hands. Andrew Ogletree, also another name to watch. He had a good preseason last year before he got hurt, and now he's looking good this training camp and preseason. That's a name you probably want to watch for as the season goes on. We could be seeing a lot of, 12, 22 personnel, things like that from Shane Steichen. I just don't think there's going to be a tremendous amount of targets to go around for the wide receivers, especially when you see we only held 3 to 4 wide receivers to the roster.
Yeah.
Sounds like we won't be running, 5 wide receivers out on empty sets too much, but if we do, we might employ some tight ends into that. That's what I think. Jamal, I don't know what you have to say on that subject.
I think that I must have accidentally emailed you my notes or something today because you're on one, man. You hit pretty much exactly what I wanted to say. I think the only difference I had when we were talking about the Matt Ryan stats in regards to MPJ not having 1,000 yards. Matt still threw for over 3K, and still averaged, what do you say, 40 something, almost 40 something a game passing. That's crazy. And when we think about, again, the names you just mentioned with Downs, McKenzie, Grandson, Ogletree, the love is going to be spread across the board. We just talked about how we wanted to get Jelani more involved because when he had the ball in his hands, he was special. But guys, those of you who don't know, Grandson topped off the tight end group last season with the most catches out of the tight end group. So he was a factor then. It just wasn't as big because the team was that bad. The offense was that bad that you didn't even realize that this guy was out there getting 30 receptions. So I expect him to blow up. I think it's clear that Reich likes, Reich, goodness gracious, Shane Steichen. Sorry about that.
Shane Steichen. You're about to get some ghosts coming in here.
Flashbacks, man. Flashbacks. No, but Shane Steichen loves Granson. He's talked about him plenty during the press conferences and during the interviews, and Granson's been a talker for the team. So I think that it'll be something fun to watch with them. And we've just seen how this short game, this intermediate game has been worked so much during the preseason. And for those of you who are in Indianapolis who've been fortunate to go to the practices, I went to a couple of them, and just the intermediate game has just been there. That's what they've been focusing on so much. So I can see them getting the ball out quickly. And it could be for a couple of reasons. It could be because Steichen feels that he needs to just really focus on trying to get these short, choppy 5, 6, 7, 8 yard plays. Or he could have watched film on last year's offensive line group and said, you know what, in the event that this goes downhill quick, we got to have a backup plan. And so I look at these short games as how we can get downfield and keep the ball moving nonstop. We talked about Pierce being the deep ball threat. I think it'll be heavy for us, but I don't see that being as big as a deal for us this year. Kind of how I feel like Matt Ryan went for a lot of those deep balls. He was in kind of duress mode for us last year. I think that Richardson will definitely get a couple of them per game, But that big take is going to be just to keep pushing the ball downfield as quickly as we can and utilizing the run game. I mean, we talked about this plenty of times over and over and over. So I just don't think that any receiver is going to get out there and get 1,000 yards this season for us when we have only 4 weapons, but at the wide receiver spot. But like you said, I don't know, still 5 tight ends out there who can rotate through.
Yeah, a lot of variety for our receiving group. What is our last bold prediction of the day?
The last one for us, guys, we want to know, will the Colts defensive line unit be a top 10 unit? I think the answer is yes, Eric.
Oh, it's got to be yes, right?
Gotta
Dominating
be.
the trenches. Like, we have to be able to do it. And I think Gus Bradley takes this defense to another level this year, especially if Shaquille Leonard's healthy. You know, Kwity Paye, let's talk about him first. He was on pace for a double-digit sack season last year. 3 sacks in the first 4 games before his injury. Biggest thing for Paye was, you know, can you stay healthy? Can we fully evaluate you if you're not going to stay healthy? You know, formerly a first-round pick in 2021 for us. This is his year to show us what he's truly made of, because we have higher expectations for anyone taken in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to become a difference maker, and availability is the best ability. So he definitely has to get over that hump first. But if he stays healthy, yeah, we're looking at a double-digit sack season for our boy Kwity Paye. The interior duo of Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner, highly underrated. Nobody talks about him because Indianapolis Colts had a laughingstock season last year. You know, people forget how good DeForest Buckner really is amid that laughingstock season. He's a legit impact, like top 5 interior defensive lineman, I would say. Continuously plays at a high level, has that elite swim move that he executes well to make offensive linemen look silly. I mean, this is how you open up opportunities for your teammates. Guy is 6'7" and is moving like he's 6'1". I don't know. I've just never seen a defensive lineman move like he does at that size. Grover Stewart, feel like he complements Buckner extremely well. He's exceptional against the run. Grover Stewart is very strong against the run game. He's also entering a contract extension year. So I expect him to continue to play at a high level to secure that bag, because, you know, Big Key was doing that. So he had to secure that bag. And, you know, we just brought in Samson Ebukam. He brings that balance to that edge. You know, yes, Yannick Ngakoue was a really good pass rusher. That's what we thought. Felt like a lot of his sacks were just, you know, empty calorie sacks. Like, they happened and it didn't, I didn't really feel the strong impact. And I think why is because he seemed to disappear against the run. So yeah, you got a sack, but you just let Derrick Henry or this other guy get past you for a first down gain. I don't know. Anyway, Samson Ebukam, I think, is going to be an upgrade overall. I think he's going to look to add to our already amazing run defense. So you take all of that into account, and I would say our defensive line was, you know, average, pretty good last year. If they can take those next levels up, I mean, that's a top 10 unit right there.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be probably the most experienced group on the defense side of the ball. I mean, our defense is going to be fairly young, especially at the cornerback in the safety position. So I like to think that these guys, they have to know that they're the unit. They are the glue of this defense this time around. We talk about a Shaq Leonard who's right now still in concussion protocol. Hopefully he'll be out of that come Sunday, but we don't know. So, you know, that's already started the season man down right there for what it's worth. Grove has a lot to prove. He still has that chip on his shoulder. He's going to come out ready to play. Again, we already know what D Buck can do. There's no question about what he can do. I like that you talked about the empty calories when it comes to Yannick, because I do think Ebukam will bring something that'll elevate this to another level, because Yannick, that 9.5 looked awesome on paper, but like you mentioned, you didn't feel it. You didn't feel it. There was still not enough pressure being put on. And last but not least, Kwity Paye. I mean, his back is on the wall. If he doesn't get it this year, I mean, you gotta move forward at this point. You hate to think about a first round pick like that, but it's just been too many ups and downs, especially when it comes to injuries. His play has been good when he's been in there and he starts to get that uptick, and then it just kind of crumbles right down. So, yeah, I mean, these guys have everything it takes to be that top 10 unit, and I think it will happen because they just have the experience. They have the drive. They have, and that interior combo is something deadly. So now with the edges, hopefully this year, the edges kind of coming together and applying that pressure, the rest should be history, man.
Rush should be. So it's Samson Ibukam?
I believe it's Ibicom, but I could be wrong. I look,
I'm terrible at
yeah.
pronunciating names. Like it took me like 5 days to pronounce Adetomo Adebare
Oh
correctly.
yeah, I mean that's a tough one.
And then you remember Bobby Okereke or
Yeah,
Okereke.
everybody
I
says
was saying
Okariki. Yeah, it's
I
okay.
well, I don't know what it is, but I guess we
Yeah,
don't have to worry about him anymore.
not our issue.
Ibukam. I need to remember that. All right. That is 5 bold predictions for the Colts in the 2023 NFL season. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it's all coming true. I think the Colts will be underrated this season. Just from what I've seen in the preseason, what we know about Shane Steichen, what we know how this defense plays at a high level, especially if the offense can stay on the field for a little bit. I think that's going to be a big change too, because we would do 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs, and give our defense no rest or gassed out. I think it's going to be a little different this year, guys.
Oh yeah, I think so too, Eric. And I just kind of want to address a couple of comments here we had because I see some good stuff throughout there. I like some of the wins, some of the losses. I get it, I completely get it. But taking it just kind of from we'll see some answers. Do we think Taylor will play for us this year? Guys, I think so. I really think Jonathan Taylor will be back this year. It's kind of a super messy situation, and everyone's been following it. We all know the ins and outs of kind of what happened from what we've seen. But I think that from a national standpoint versus a local standpoint, it's kind of been a little bit of a different narrative. But Chris Ballard, during his press conference the other day, kind of seemed like he's trying his best to figure out a way to make this relationship better. Will that be after they just bite the bullet and say, hey, listen, we're going to pay you a 1-year extension and we can figure out something from there? I don't know. Maybe JT agrees to say, hey, listen, if I come out and play the back half of the season and I ball out, you got to give me something. I know one topic that was mentioned was the franchise tag. And that's a tool for the Colts, and I think that's another thing that kind of makes JT a little hesitant about jumping back in, because he if he doesn't want to be here for that portion, you hate to get tagged at the very end of the season. So I think that's kind of it's still walking on eggshells with that, but I really feel like Ballard has to figure out a way to let Taylor know that you're here to stay and we want you here to stay, because I mean it's been clear with the kind of shoddy trade requests that when he's asking for players that he won't get, because he knows that we want to keep Taylor here.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe for those reports.
Yeah.
Supposedly we asked for Jalen Waddle. Supposedly, yeah, there wasn't really much debate on the table. It seems like a trade was never going to happen.
Yeah.
I know I was the first to say, like, I don't know, JT trade might actually happen. But yeah, I think the Colts have the most leverage here. What JT really needs to do is come back after his 4 weeks off and show that he is healthy and he can replicate that lightning in a bottle season that he had over back in 2021.
Yeah.
So, and I think it can be way better.
Oh yeah.
He could see 2,000 if he stays healthy. But we only have 2 active running backs on the roster right now: Deion Jackson, Evan Hull. So I'm sure they're looking into probably signing a veteran, I would think, or they're gonna call up a practice squad running back, maybe Jake Funk or something like that. But I would expect them to go into into week 1 Sunday with at least 3 running backs on the roster.
Yeah, I would think so too. And one other one, Eric, just kind of is about O-line, asking if the O-line is going to be back to where they were here in the past. This is a tough question. I mean, obviously, we don't like to see Danny Pinter going down, breaking, I believe it was his ankle, so he's out for the season. That's one of our best backup guys when it comes to the center position when we need that extra depth there. The offensive line itself has a lot of work to do. Obviously, we know it was ferocious last year. I forgot how many sacks it was, but well over 60, I believe it was. And we just saw a lot of bad play from from Quentin Nelson, from the rookie Bernard Ryan Kelly. I mean, just across the board, nothing was good. I like to think that Ryan Kelly should be back a little better this year. I don't really know how much better he'll be, but I like to think he'll come back playing a little better. Quentin Nelson, I really believe that he will come back to a higher level. I don't know if he'll be as elite as he's been in the past, but he will come back to high level. And guys, you got to remember, we've been spoiled by phenomenal play at that guard position by him. When he has a down season that's equivalent to probably an average guard, it feels like he's just lost everything because we've been spoiled by that play. So I think he will bounce back. I think a lot of that stuff had to do with his contract last year, kind of being upset about getting paid before the season started. But he got paid, and I think he'll come back. Ryman's looking good out there. Braden Smith is going to be looking good for us. So really, it's just still that right guard spot where we kind of lack. And I know there have been a couple people who've come into the building this week to come for some trials for the Colts. So we'll see how that turns up. But the offensive line itself should be firing a little better with Tony Sparano back there as our new coach for the offensive line. So I'm looking forward to their upgrades this year.
Yeah, I would love to see our offensive line return to form. It'll just be so much more helpful for Anthony Richardson's development, not feeling like he's under duress back there. I don't know if you guys saw some of these college football games, but I watched the Gamecocks and Spencer Rattler got sacked 9 times. That's what we don't need. That's what we don't need for Richardson. Although I think Richardson will be fine. Yeah, JT deserves to get paid, but I think he's going about it the wrong way. Yeah, something happened when he hired this new agent, but I don't think we want to go down that rabbit hole.
We'll leave that for the media to take care of.
Yeah. So anything more than the playoff spot would be icing on the cake. Yeah, if we make the playoffs with Anthony Richardson, oh my god.
That'd be nuts.
The sky's the limit. Look, that's all I'm gonna say. The sky is literally the limit for this team if we somehow do it. But 10 wins, that's not out of the question. We got 4 wins last year with all that malfunction, and it was horrible. So you telling me we can't get? 8 would be bare minimum, but 10 would be. That's our goal. That's what we think. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. I think we ran a little over, right?
Yeah, not too bad, though. We appreciate it's always fun talking Colts, and it's always nice, especially when we have a new crowd, especially with you guys out here for the live stream, putting these comments in. That makes it a lot more fun, give us a chance to interact with y'all. So we appreciate all the comments and the love.
Yeah. We appreciate the opportunity from Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bleacher Report, for having us on. Had a really good time. But I think that's going to be it for us, everyone. Colts either win the South or at worst finish second. I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the live stream today, hosted by Bleacher Report. Again, my name is Eric Smith. He is Jamal Lawrence. With the Colts Cast, the premier Indianapolis Colts podcast. So you guys can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. Hopefully we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all take care.
Take care.